The beggar was brought in for interrogation. But just moments later, he turned into the hottest recruit every squad captain wanted. Turns out, the guy used to be a detective in his past life. With sharp instincts, he pointed out every flaw in the interrogation process until it felt like he was the one interrogating them. In the end, the interrogators could only report the bare minimum, his name and gender. The squad captain paused for a full 2.5 seconds. That's it. He was the captain of the tower's External Investigation Corps, 7th Division, codename 59. Captain Lu Mu from the 13th Division couldn't stop laughing. Seriously, 59? Your team's interrogation game really fell off a cliff. Where'd you even find this kid? 59 replied calmly. Got a call from some mystery woman. Said a beggar was kidnapped by nobles and needed saving. But get this, he survived 2.5 hours alone in the tower's blue danger zone. Didn't attract a single corrupted, and even took down an assassin chasing him. This guy's not ordinary. As he spoke, 59 slid his blade back into the sheath. A good knife should only be used where it counts. Lu Mu raised an eyebrow, intrigued. All right, now I want to meet this guy myself. Meanwhile, inside the interrogation room, two members of the 7th Division were explaining the basics of this world to Bai Wu. 700 years ago, the apocalypse hit, and the corrupted began to flood the world. Humanity had no choice but to retreat into a massive tower that suddenly appeared out of nowhere. After that, people awakened a new power to fight back against the corrupted. It was called symbiotic force. It greatly enhances strength, speed, and other abilities. And the only way to level it up is to step outside the tower. That's when the female team member proudly added, "Our captain from the 7th Division once survived 24 days outside the tower, all by himself. His symbiotic force has reached a terrifying tier 8. He's basically the strongest guy in the entire investigation corps." The male teammate continued, "If symbiotic force boosts your base stats, then talent sequences are your personal, unique skills. There are 1,024 known talent sequences. The lower the number, the more powerful the ability. Only those ranked within the top 500 are qualified to join the High Tower Prison Guard or the External Investigation Corps. Also, some rare items can gain special powers outside the tower, a process called spirit binding. And 59's sword, it's a top-tier artifact that's been bound for 17 days straight. By now, Bai Wu had already figured out, this world clearly encourages people to leave the tower. That's the only way to get stronger." Just then, Lu Mu walked into the interrogation room. The female member looked surprised. "Captain Lu, what brings you here?" Lu Mu smiled. "I'd like to have a private word with Bai Wu." But the moment he sat down and opened his mouth, Bai Wu spoke first. "I'm willing to join you." One sentence, and Lu Mu was completely caught off guard. He had come in prepared with a whole speech to recruit this guy, and now he didn't even know where to start. Then Bai Wu added, "But I'm not joining your squad." Lu Mu was stunned. "Wait, how did you know we were trying to recruit you? And why not my squad?" Bai Wu calmly explained that, judging from how he was treated during the interrogation and his performance outside the tower, it was obvious the Corps was trying to win him over. Plus, the female member's surprised reaction when she saw Lu Mu, that told him Lu Mu wasn't from the 7th Division. He'd also noticed subtle things, like the dent in Lu Mu's wrist joint and fresh injuries on his arm. That meant Lu Mu used a shield, and it broke. He clearly ran into something nasty outside. Hearing all that, Lu Mu was fired up. "This guy's a monster. I need to get him in a team 13. Bai Wu looked at him and said, "I need a full talent sequence index. If you can get me that, I'll think about it." Before he could even finish the sentence, Lu Mu dashed out like a hurricane. "Someone, give me the full talent index. Now!" 2.5 minutes later, the talent table was in Bai Wu's hands. His eyes landed on sequence number 24, Eye of Prel. The ability? To see a person's hidden personality traits based on their current emotional state. So that weird pop-up window he kept seeing? Yeah, that was this ability kicking in. But was his own hidden trait really being a chatty clown? Seriously? Lu Mu came back full of hope, asking once again if Bai Wu would join his squad. But Bai Wu calmly hit him with a nice guy card and said he was still going with Team 7. After all, what he needed most now was to get stronger. and no one leaves the tower more than the 7th Division. Plus, he was already kind of vibing with those two team members. And there was one more reason. He just didn't like the number 13. It sounded unlucky. Then Bai Wu turned to 5'9" and said, "I want to head out of the tower tomorrow." With his back to him, 5'9" replied, "Your symbiotic force is only Tier 1, Level 3. Even a mildly mutated corrupted could." Before he could finish, Bai Wu cut him off. "No need to remind me how dangerous it is. Just put me with a squad of veterans. I won't slow anyone down. Besides, I'm guessing you don't really want me sitting around inside the tower either, do you?" Bai Wu had a way of hitting people right where it mattered, saying exactly what they were thinking. 5'9" had no choice but to agree. Then he turned around and added, "Almost forgot. Name's Gu Qingyu, but you could just call me Captain Gu." Bai Wu nodded. "Got it, 5'9". When he returned to his quarters, Bai Wu found a full set of gear on the table, prepared by 5'9" for his first mission. It included a mood-monitoring watch, an emotional suppressant injector, and a return teleport disc. As soon as he picked up one of the injectors, it stabbed straight into his neck on its own. As the name suggests, this kind of injector suppresses all emotions. But 5 minutes later, all negative emotions would come rushing back, stronger than ever. Yet even after 5 minutes passed, Bai Wu didn't feel a thing. Guess I really am some emotionless freak. The next day, Bai Wu arrived at the tower's teleportation zone. 6 massive stone monoliths stood tall, each leading to an area outside with different danger levels. As he looked up at the towering stones, the chatterbox system popped up again. These stones do open up space, sure, but their real purpose is to seal off that thing at the top of the tower. Bai Wu raised an eyebrow. Thing at the top of the tower? The system quickly cut him off. Too many secrets involved. Trust me, it's better for both of us if I don't explain. Just then, 5'9" showed up with 4 veteran teammates in tow. The system kicked into introduction mode. First up, Wang Shi, born into a rich family on the tower's 3rd floor. Loves blood, danger, and weirdly enough, collecting Barbie dolls. Total musclehead with a twist. Wang Shi walked up and greeted Bai Wu. "Yo, bro, that stuff in your bag, spirit binding gear." A long-haired guy nearby scoffed. "Spirit binding? Please. I've been out of the tower 100 times and barely pulled it off once. And you, rookie, don't slow us down. I'm not dragging your corpse back." That was Lin Wuro, poisoned tongue, total drama queen, and a hopeless romantic looking for his soulmate. Bai Wu just smiled at him. "I don't drag people down. I just cling to strong thighs. But thanks for the warning, Sister Lin." Lin Wuro exploded. "What the hell did you just call me?" Wang Shi rushed to hold him back before things got messy. Just then, someone tugged gently on Bai Wu's sleeve. A timid-looking guy introduced himself. "Hi, I'm Shang Xiaoi." On the surface, he looked like a harmless little puppy, but in a fight, he was the most unhinged one in the squad. He once went so berserk, a dwarf had to physically drag him back into the tower. Just as Bai Wu reached out to shake Shang Xiaoi's hand, someone else suddenly grabbed it. A beautiful girl pushed Shang aside and stepped up in front of him. I mean Shuang. The chatterbox system perked up immediately. Finally, a girl. I was starting to think this was a boy band reunion. Oh, and she's not just a pretty face. She's a revenge seeker, just like the dwarf. Her body holds a secret even the 6th level is interested in. Bai Wu thought to himself, the system's mentioned secrets the 6th level is interested in twice now. Could it be a rare talent sequence? With introductions over, 5'9" waved the squad forward. "Let's move out." He stepped into the white stone monolith, the one marking the lowest difficulty zone. One by one, the others followed him inside. As Bai Wu entered, his body slowly began to fade. A flash of blinding light. And when he opened his eyes again, an eerie, decrepit hospital complex loomed in front of them. Right as they reached the front gate, the system popped up again. "Just a heads up, if you enter this hospital, things won't stay white difficulty for long. But there's a mystery inside, one that only you can solve. So good luck." Bai Wu smirked. "A mystery only I can solve? Now that sounds fun." 5'9" slowly pushed open the rusted iron gate. The group stared at 4 large hospital buildings ahead, each one sealed off and ominous. Bai Wu pointed forward. We can only go through the main entrance of Building 1. The other 3 are all sealed tight. If we want to access the rest, we'll need to cross through the skywalk at the top floor. After hearing Bai Wu's explanation, the group stepped into Building 1. But the moment they entered, Bai Wu sensed something was off. There were bloodstains on the wall. Judging by the color and smell, they were probably 2 days old. Even creepier, someone had used the blood to draw a strange, cryptic symbol. Wangshu looked around and asked, "Captain, with this many rooms, how are we supposed to search them all?" 5-9 turned to Bai Wu. "Your thoughts?" Bai Wu replied calmly, "The biggest secret in this hospital is probably hidden in Building 4. Lin Wuro slammed his hand against the nearby door. "New guy, stop spouting crap, all right?" Bai Wu replied coolly, "I'll only explain things once. From now on, just trust what I say. It'll make the whole operation smoother." In Shuang glanced at him. Okay, did this rookie just pull off a mini CEO vibe? Lin Wuro was about to snap again, but 5-9 raised a hand to stop him. "Let him speak." Bai Wu continued. "This layout, with all 4 buildings connected only through a skywalk, makes it terrible for emergency response. No way this was designed as a real hospital. But as a prison, that makes perfect sense. And if it's a prison, then the real secret has to be hidden in Building 4, the deepest point." Just then, Shang Xiaoi suddenly lit up. "Captain, looks like someone came to greet us." Everyone looked up, and to their shock, the elevator was moving. 5-9 instantly gave the order. "All units, stay alert." Bai Wu was a bit surprised. A building from 700 years ago, and the elevator still works. 5-9 responded calmly. "Out here beyond the tower, normal logic doesn't always apply. It's not just space that shifts." Bai Wu nodded slightly. For now, he could only chalk it all up to game settings. The elevator slowly descended to the first floor. All 6 of them tensed up, ready for anything. As the doors creaked open, a grotesque corrupted stood waiting inside. 5-9 didn't even flinch. With one smooth motion, he drew his blade, wind howled, and the creature's head dropped clean off. A mildly mutated corrupted against someone at the top of the tower's investigation core? Instant kill. As the team moved to step onto the elevator, Bai Wu suddenly crouched beside the fallen corpse. He gently placed the head back on the body, then began searching it. His instincts from a past life as a detective kicked in. The dead always tell the truth. Sure enough, moments later, he uncovered a key clue, one that pointed them to their next move. It was a torn-out diary page. The writer claimed he'd been tricked into coming to the 9th psychiatric hospital. He was terrified of becoming like that person on the 11th floor and being transferred to Building 2. Bai Wu glanced at the date. This paper was over 700 years old, yet perfectly preserved. Could some rule of this world be protecting physical objects? With Lin Wuro impatiently yelling behind him, Bai Wu finally stepped into the elevator and pressed the button for the 11th floor. Lin Wuro exploded. "Are you insane? Why the hell are you pressing random buttons?" Bai Wu held up the diary page. The 11th floor might hold some answers. Plus, the danger levels in the other buildings might be far worse than we think. If there really is a stronger corrupted up there, at least it'll give you all a nice dose of reality before the real hell begins. Sure enough, just as the team stepped out of the elevator, a chilling voice echoed down the long, empty corridor. It was low but drawn out, and enough to make your skin crawl. You can't play with me. I've been waiting so long." The voice echoed like a whisper, filled with longing and sorrow, sending chills down their spines. Bai Wu quickly analyzed it. It sounded like a little girl, but also like an adult. Different tones and emotions tangled into one disturbing voice. Just then, black liquid began to drip from the ceiling, landing directly on Yin Shuang's shoulder. The moment she looked up, a long, pitch-black hand lunged down at her. In a nick of time, 5-9 flashed in front of her and sliced the hand clean off. "Everyone stay calm. Keep your emotions in check." But before he could even finish speaking, dozens more black hands burst through the ceiling, clawing toward the group. A system prompt popped up. "Looks like someone in your squad triggered an emotional spike, and now it's coming for you. And it's not a weak one either. Your captain couldn't even one-shot it. The team struggled to fend off the wave of shadowy limbs. At the same time, the readings on their emotion monitors began to rise. In Shuang's hit the highest, 21. Meanwhile, Bai Wu yawned. His monitor? Flatlined at 0. That's why the creature's shadow limbs, multiplying like some ninja technique, were completely ignoring him. "You guys keep playing," he said casually. "I'm gonna go scout ahead." 5-9 snapped, "Hold it. Stay where you are. We move as a unit. Once this is under control." Bai Wu glanced up at the ceiling. "I'm guessing the girl's voice messes with your emotions. Until you all calm down, these things won't stop coming." With a casual wave, Bai Wu continued deeper into the building. "I'll scout ahead. Maybe I can find the source of those shadow hands." Wang Shi muttered under his breath. "Captain, this rookie's guts are on another level." 5-9 frowned slightly, his tone heavy. "If his emotional reading was just a low number, I'd say he's just brave. But 0? Either the monitor's broken, or there's something off about him." Alone, Bai Wu stepped into a room thick with resentment and dread. The first thing he saw was something that definitely didn't belong in a hospital: a massive iron cage. The system popped up. "This is a spirit-bound prison cage. That poor little thing was trapped here the entire time. It never escaped. Someone eventually let it out." Scattered across the floor were dozens of discarded syringes. These used to contain heavy tranquilizers and some kind of experimental biological serum. Just as Bai Wu was about to investigate further, the chatterbox system chimed in again. "Better focus on that table. Those items aren't just junk. They were part of the little one's final field of view. It couldn't destroy them, so it left behind a question, a choice. Each of the 3 items grants a different outcome. One leads to a talent sequence. One earns the little one's friendship, and one awakens its hatred. Which is which? That's for you to figure out. But choose wisely. Once you take one, the other 2 vanish." Bai Wu first looked at a notebook. This file contains plenty of details. Stuff you and the dwarf have been trying to uncover. Then he turned to a key beside it. "This doesn't unlock the cage. It opens something else, something important. It could be a shortcut, or it could drop you straight into the abyss." As for the last item, a simple old hair comb, the system said absolutely nothing. Bai Wu fell into deep thought. That notebook might contain a sliver of historical truth. The key could unlock something crucial, and the comb, with no system hint at all, was suspicious in its own way. He scratched his head nonstop. "Ugh, I can feel my brain growing," he muttered. The system snorted. "What's wrong, item hoarder? Going through withdrawal already?" Bai Wu sighed. "Okay, just asking. But what if I'm really fast? Can I maybe grab all 3? Right at that moment, the door behind him slammed shut. Creepy, but Bai Wu didn't flinch. He just kept calmly piecing everything together. From the setup, this room was likely a lab, probably where they ran experiments tied to the corrupted. Based on the clues, the test subject here may have mentally reached out, through pure thought, to communicate with others. At the time, they hadn't fully turned into a vengeful entity. The system popped up again. Mental communication? That's a serious leap. How do you even come up with that? Bai Wu held up the diary page. It mentioned the test subject, but in vague terms, like something was being hidden. Logically, the facility wouldn't want their subjects interacting. The likeliest scenario, this one found a way to secretly talk to someone with their mind. But that connection got discovered, and they were transferred to Building 2. Which tells me, whatever's in Building 2, it's stronger. Then Bai Wu looked back at the old comb. Between the diary and the room's layout, it was clear. The subject had been a woman. But in a place like this, why would a comb even matter? There had to be a deeper meaning. Meanwhile, outside the room, the rest of the team began to calm their emotions. Yes, they did. The black hands vanished. Meanwhile, the rest of the team was heading down the hallway, trying to reach the room where Bai Wu had gone. But the door was locked tight. Lin Wuro slammed on it over and over. Don't tell me that rookie died in there. Just as he was about to ram it open, 5-9 suddenly shouted, "Watch your step." From the floor, black tendrils burst out again. 5-9 instantly blinked behind Lin Wuro, slicing through the shadowy limbs with ease. But the nightmare wasn't over. The tendrils came back, faster, stronger, and angrier than before. The team was getting overwhelmed. 5-9 took command, ready to force the door open. "We're busting in. Grab Bai Wu and pull out." He launched forward with lightning speed, but just as he reached the door, he skidded to a stop. The doorknob turned with a click, and then Bai Wu casually stepped out like nothing had happened. Instantly, all the black tendrils vanished without a trace. Twirling the comb in his hand, Bai Wu said calmly, "Sorry to keep you waiting. Let's head to the 19th floor." The 6 members of the investigation corps rode the elevator toward the top of Building 1. And then, Bai Wu asked a question that instantly froze the air in the cabin. "Captain, under what circumstances do humans turn into corrupted?" 5-9 stayed quiet for a few seconds before answering. "You see the emotion monitor on your wrist? Once your reading passes 75, the display turns from green to yellow. Hit 175 and it goes red. After that, right then, the elevator dinged. The doors opened at the top floor. 5-9 didn't finish his sentence. But Bai Wu already understood that T175, when negative emotions spiral out of control, that's when a human becomes corrupted. On the way toward Building 2, Bai Wu asked another question, one that sounded a bit dumb on purpose. "So, if staying outside the tower increases symbiotic force gains, couldn't we just chill here in the safer Building 1 for a while and farm levels?" Lin Muro scoffed, "Wow, you really are a clueless rookie. Out here, every 4 hours, your body starts stacking penalties. Slowed movement, hallucinations, whatever. And the kicker? Every debuff is random." Bai Wu noted that mentally, one random debuff every 4 hours. Then he thought of 5-9. That guy survived 24 straight days outside, which means he was walking around with over 100 stacked debuffs and still fighting corrupted like it was nothing. That's not a human. That's a monster. Like a one-man army kind of monster. The team arrived at Building 2, planning to take the skybridge from the top floor to reach Building 3. But something unexpected happened. The path to Building 3 was blocked by an invisible wall. Just like those invisible walls in games. No key item, no entry to the next area. A system prompt popped up. "Don't try to bypass Building 2. You'll need to head all the way down to retrieve a key. Friendly tip, a naughty little gremlin swallowed it." The squad tried to use the elevator to go down, only to realize the elevator wasn't real. Even weirder, the system revealed that this wasn't the 19th floor. This was Floor 0, and beneath them, 18 floors symbolizing the 18 layers of hell. With no other choice, they took the stairs. For safety, 5-9 pulled out a rare item, the Medusa Lantern. A spirit-bound tool, grade 4D. Its effect? Petrifies and slows corrupted. But as they descended, no enemies showed up. Instead, the halls were lined with the corpses of corrupted, and none of the bodies were intact. As they passed one of the rooms, the system chimed in with a strange message. "Sure, I'm your one and only cutie, but with a camera, you'll see things even clearer." Bai Wu paused, then rummaged through his bag, and actually pulled out a camera. He'd originally brought it for spirit binding. The system followed up, point at cell 12, then mentally recite this number string, and you'll snap a photo of what happened at that exact moment in time. Bai Wu pressed the shutter. A few seconds later, the photo slid out. In the image, a red-haired boy, but his eyes and his face were no longer human. Bai Wu stared at the photo and asked, "Captain, do high-level corrupted retain intelligence?" 5-9's tone turned grim. "Some of them keep traces of what they were, like speech. But a rare few. They're not just corrupted, they're evolved." Bai Wu lifted the photo. "If I'm right, the boy in this picture is one of them. A highly intelligent, top-tier corrupted. And all those shredded corpses we saw earlier were probably his work." "My work?" A voice echoed from above. They all looked up. A giant spider loomed overhead, clinging to the ceiling. Its head was that same red-haired boy. Twisted. Monstrous. He let out a wild laugh. "Welcome to my death arena." 5-9 didn't hesitate. He drew his blade and struck. But the creature dodged effortlessly, then raised its hands and unleashed a familiar move. Planetary devastation. The floor cracked. Gravity exploded. The entire level began to collapse. The team scattered in all directions. But Baiwu wasn't fast enough. He dropped straight through the crumbling floor. 5'9" lunged after him without a second thought, grabbing his hand mid-fall. Together, the two of them plummeted into the abyss below. Thanks to 5'9's quick action, Baiwu landed safely. He sat up slowly, brushing dust off his clothes. What lay before him was nothing like the narrow upper floors. This level was massive, wide, enclosed, an entirely open space. Based on 5'9's judgment, this area had once seen fierce battles between over a dozen different types of aberrants. But strangely, the wall marked with the number 12 had no signs of damage. A system prompt popped up. As expected of the captain, you've already spotted the clue. That aberrant was known as the 12th disciple and had an obsession with that number. Baiwu pondered the term disciple. If there were disciples, did that mean there was also a minor-level figure behind them? Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from behind them. A heavy iron gate fell from above, cutting off their path to the upper floors. Another system prompt followed. Floor -17, number 12. After devouring the Spider-Woman from floor 16, I gained her web-controlling ability and 23 obedient minions. And I still got one shot. I swallowed the key to building 3 on the spot. Baiwu couldn't help but chuckle. Anyone who makes that kind of boastful declaration probably didn't end well. But this time, the system didn't display the usual prisoner profile. Instead, it revealed the aberrant's inner thoughts at that very moment. The red-haired boy in the photo was almost certainly the 12th disciple himself. Baiwu began connecting the dots, mentally mapping out a series of doors across different floors. Each door corresponded to a room 12 on its respective level. And with every door they passed, the system revealed a snippet of that red-haired boy's mental state at the time. Baiwu gradually realized that the 9th Asylum wasn't just a place to hold aberrants. It was a facility designed to research and even create them. And this entire second building, it was basically an arena, a brutal battleground where aberrants slaughtered each other for survival. Only the strong could descend further. That red-haired boy's name was Elijah, and he possessed a terrifying ability. By devouring other aberrants, he could absorb and wield their powers. The teacher had sent Elijah to the 9th Asylum, claiming it was for research. But in truth, he wanted Elijah to devour the facility's fallen ones and grow stronger. Driven by his obsession with that teacher, Elijah fought like a madman through the hellish second building, defeating one twisted creature after another, until he reached the -14th floor. But it was there that something unexpected happened. Elijah was effortlessly defeated by a seemingly weak boy from the first building, someone the system called the Little Wretch. Devastated by the loss, Elijah spiraled further into madness, consuming more and more fallen ones to gain strength, until he became the monster he is now. Yet even then, he was no match. The Little Wretch crushed him again in an instant. That defeat left a scar on Elijah's mind, and from that moment, the teacher abandoned him. But white mist uncovered something even more disturbing. The teacher still had at least 11 other high-tier abominations like Elijah. And worse, his true goal was to destroy the entire tower. White mist quickly shared his deduction with Captain 59. Upon hearing it, 59's face turned grim. There was no way Lin Wuro's group could handle a high-tier abomination. They had to regroup fast. But before they could move, a massive glowing eye emerged from the shadows. Feeling the surge of killing intent, 59 tossed white mist the Medusa lamp, an artifact that could temporarily freeze an abomination in place. Though against a high-tier one, it would only slow it down. Suddenly, the giant abomination swung its massive arms straight at them with terrifying force. The two dodged in a flash. In the next instant, 59 leapt into the air and slashed 10 times in a single second, shattering the creature's iron-hard arm into pieces. Before the monster could even react, 59's speed exploded again. He split into multiple afterimages, surrounding the beast with a storm of flashing blades. In just 2.5 seconds, the abomination was reduced to a pile of shredded meat. This was the power of talent sequence number 256. Shadow Step, allowing him to move at such high speeds. It looked like he had cloned himself. Watching the melting remains of the creature, Bai Wu guessed it was one of the corrupted beings under the control of the 12th disciple. While he was focused on examining the remains, he failed to notice a ghostly green hand silently reaching out from the floor behind him. The system suddenly issued a warning. Bai Wu snapped around in alarm. A glowing green corrupted creature was crawling toward him at alarming speed. He quickly dodged back and shined the Medusa lamp at the monster. The creature paused only for a moment, its speed barely slowed. As expected, the lamp had little effect on a high-level corrupted like this. As Bai Wu hesitated for a split second, the monster lunged forward with a claw swipe. He ducked just in time to avoid it. At that moment, the creature suddenly froze, its body pulsing with a flash of green light. Then came a blade. Wu Jiu had struck. The creature barely dodged the fatal blow by leaping backward. It vanished into the shadows in the blink of an eye. Turns out, this one had a danger-sensing ability. No wonder it escaped Wu Jiu's attack. "Captain," Bai Wu said calmly, "leave the stealth one to me. That big-eyed freak over there is all yours." But just as he finished speaking, the system flashed another warning. "Area of effect attack detected above. Evade immediately." The two looked up to see a swirling black vortex forming overhead. Without hesitation, Wu Jiu grabbed Bai Wu by the collar and hurled him aside. A massive shadowy fist slammed down where they had just been. Then came a barrage of shadow fists raining down like a storm. But Wu Jiu, moving at lightning speed, dodged every single strike with ease. He bent his knees and launched into the air, leaping upward by stepping on the falling fists, eyes locked on the abomination's central eye. With a swift motion, he slashed his blade down. But to his surprise, the creature's body flowed apart like water, splitting to both sides. The moment the slash missed, its fragmented flesh wriggled and merged back together. The system popped up an alert. Mutation trait. Flowing flesh, weakness, central eye. But White Mist had no time to process that now. That stealth-type abomination was still circling near him, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Thanks to the system's warnings, he narrowly dodged every ambush before it landed. He frowned. Why was this thing so fixated on him? Was it afraid of something he carried? His eyes fell on the Medusa lantern in his hand. Stealth types hated light. A sly smile crept across White Mist's face. He had a plan. He shouted at Captain 59. The man turned instinctively, but what White Mist did next caught him completely off guard. Its weak spot is the central eye. White Mist shouted, then hurled the Medusa lantern straight at 59. 59's eyes widened. In the instant their gazes met, he understood White Mist's plan. He slashed the lantern midair. A blinding flash lit up the entire room. The intense light forced the stealth-type abomination out of hiding, while 59, standing dead center in the lantern's shadow, became nearly invisible, ready to strike unseen. 242. Suddenly, 59 turned and spotted the stealth-type abomination. Without hesitation, he unleashed his extreme shadow ability and sliced it clean in one swift strike. Wasting no time, he launched into the air again, locked onto the giant eye, and drove his blade straight into its weak point. The entire sequence, from slaying the stealth type to striking the core, took just 2.5 seconds. As the battle ended, 59 scolded White Mist. If it had been anyone else, they might not have reacted in time. But White Mist grinned confidently. "That's exactly why I counted on you, Captain." The comment left 59 speechless. Then 59 noticed something strange. The corpses of the two abominations began to dissolve, melting away until only a few strands of web remained. That's when he realized they were merely puppets created by the spider-type abomination upstairs. And if the puppets were that powerful, then the real body. There's no way Lin Wuro's team could handle it. Sure enough, Lin Wuro's squad was already locked in a fierce battle. Though the veteran team members fought with seamless coordination and managed to land serious blows on Elijah, they were caught off guard when he activated an insane regeneration ability. Every wound healed instantly, like nothing ever happened. Seeing this, Lin Wuro exclaimed. This fight is never going to end at this rate. Elijah grinned. Never ending? No, I'll be finishing you all off right now. As he spoke, his spider-like abdomen split open, revealing a gaping hole that suddenly launched several eggs into the air. Within seconds, the eggs hatched into 4 puppet abominations. Who would have thought this creepy spider thing had a summoner's duel setup like some twisted boss from a game? Meanwhile, 59 was still thinking of a way to regroup with the other 4 team members, until Prell's voice warned White Mist. Level 6 abomination rapidly approaching. Looking up, 59 saw Lin Wuro's squad falling through a broken ceiling, along with the 4 newly spawned abominations right behind them. Instantly, 59 leapt into action and shouted, Lin Wuro, Wang Shi. The two heard the call and reacted in perfect sync. Lin Wuro whipped out her chain, and 59 grabbed it midair. He then stepped on Wang Shi's outstretched arm, using the momentum to leap even higher. Activating his extreme shadow again, 59 blurred into multiple afterimages. Blades flashed through the air, and within the blink of an eye, all 4 abominations were annihilated. But the moment he landed, Elijah appeared right behind him. So, are you the real leader? Those 4 were barely a warm-up, but you might be fun. The next moment, 59 and Elijah clashed in an all-out brawl. It was a high-level duel far beyond the rest of the team. All they could do now was cheer from the sidelines. None of them could even step in. Meanwhile, White Mist stood deep in thought. He had just received a message from the Eye of Prell. If you manage to kill Elijah without relying on the captain's help, a brand new talent series will be unlocked. With that in mind, he stepped forward. Captain, let me have a heart-to-heart with this spider boy Nagato. Lin Wuro snapped. Heart-to-heart my ass. Were you Naruto? You think a few speeches will send him into an emotional meltdown? Even 59 stepped in with his blade drawn. This isn't your fight. Fall back now. But White Mist calmly placed his hand on the blade, pushing it down. Then he looked at the others and said, Unless I'm on the verge of dying, no one interfere. No attacks, no talking. Just stand there and act cold and emotionless, like the captain usually does. Got it. The moment White Mist finished speaking, 59 could feel 4 weird gazes locking onto him. The others quickly averted their eyes and pretended nothing happened. White Mist calmly stepped up to Elijah and sneered. So you're my next opponent? You look even weaker than those 4 rookies. Before he could say another word, Elijah's rubbery arm shot out and coiled tightly around him. But White Mist just smirked eerily. My dear child, don't you recognize me? You were supposed to be my greatest masterpiece. Elijah froze. Then slowly, he withdrew his arm. You my teacher? His eyes widened in disbelief, staring at White Mist as if he were seeing a ghost, someone he once revered above all. If you're really still alive, then why haven't you come to see me in 700 years? White Mist stepped even closer, his tone darkening. You think I stayed away because I died? No, maybe I should have come back, just to remind myself. He leaned in, voice dropping to a cold whisper. You were my biggest failure, the worst experiment I ever created. Elijah staggered back, clutching his head in agony. No, I'm not a failure. I'm your perfect creation. But the damage was done. The mental breakdown had already started. White Mist had successfully hijacked his psyche. You were too scared to face that little girl who beat you down. I had to clean up your mess. You're nothing but a walking mistake, my greatest regret. Under the barrage of brutal words, Elijah's mind completely shattered. He dropped to his knees, begging like a broken child. Please, teacher, just give me one more chance. Prowls I couldn't help but wonder, how was White Mist able to mimic the teacher's tone and personality so perfectly, despite having no information about him? White Mist answered calmly, I just copied the way my father used to speak. In truth, he had already deduced Elijah's psychological profile. Arrogant, insecure, fiercely loyal, and starved for love. The so-called teacher and the Ninth Asylum were never truly on the same side. The teacher had intended to weaponize Elijah, using his talent to absorb corrupted entities and gain power. But everything fell apart when Elijah was defeated not once, but 3 times by a little girl from the 11th floor. That failure turned the girl into a lingering nightmare in his mind. And White Mist had a gut feeling. One day, he would face this teacher directly. That man was the true evil behind it all. But for now, there was something more pressing. White Mist reached into his bag and pulled out the ornate comb he had picked up earlier. The moment Elijah saw it, his eyes went wide. "Teacher, you really killed that girl?" White Mist softened his tone. "Elijah, even though you failed me, I never forgot you. Just don't disappoint me again." Elijah burst into tears, crawling toward White Mist like a desperate child. "Please, give me another chance, teacher. I swear I'll make it right." White Mist knelt down, gently brushing Elijah's hair with the comb. "Those corrupted souls you devoured, they're a part of you now. And soon, you'll be a part of me. We'll be together forever. You will no longer matters. I grant you eternity." Elijah couldn't wait any longer. "Teacher, please tell me what to do." White Mist gently hugged him, leaned in, and whispered a single sentence. Elijah froze on the spot. Without saying another word, White Mist turned and walked away, while Elijah slowly retracted into his spider-like body. That one sentence echoed in his mind, like a nightmare, yet strangely divine. "Offer your heart to me." Elijah whispered, "Thank you, teacher, for granting me eternity." Cackling madly, Elijah suddenly extended 4 massive arms from his abdomen. The hands slammed straight into his own body. The forsaken child had finally returned to the one he worshipped the most. System, Elijah defeated. Acquired talent number 76, Gluttony. Grants the ability to absorb certain traits by devouring enemies. The man with 0 combat skills had killed a ferocious devourer just by talking. And then he literally gutted it. Turns out, Prell's I had hinted. The key to building 3 was hidden inside its stomach. White Mist didn't want to get his hands dirty, so he looked straight at Wang Shi. "You're the muscle. You do it." But Wang Shi casually pushed Lin Wuro forward. "Nah, not my specialty. He's the real pro here." Without a word, Lin Wuro pulled out a full set of delicate surgical knives. With the finesse of a fine dining chef, he expertly and elegantly dissected the corpse. Moments later, he pulled out a silver key, clean and precise. Even Prell's I was impressed. "I gotta say, I'm seeing you in a new light. That technique, it's just like that gourmet psycho Hannibal you caught last time." With the key in hand, the team finally unlocked the path to Building 3. They arrived at the entrance of Building 3. Shang Xiaoi, since there were no fallen inside, safe to proceed. Still cautious, Wu Ji turned to Bai Wu for his opinion. That when the voice of Prell spoke up, "This building used to house the staff. There's a bunch of boring records inside. But heads up, Little Pity's watching you now. She's left behind some puzzles for you. You've already earned 1 talent sequence. You could walk away now, or keep going. But seriously, don't pick that second option." Naturally, Bai Wu picked exactly what he was told not to. He chose to go deeper. Lin Wuro twisted the door handle. The team stepped into the eerie and unpredictable Building 3. "I told you not to go in. Can't believe you fell for the welcome sign." The voice of Prell grumbled non-stop along the way. Bai Wu ignored the complaints until they reached an old elevator. That's when Prell finally offered something useful. "This is your first choice from Little Pity. Go to the 3rd floor. After that, you're on your own." Bai Wu thought to himself. With the captain's strength, he should be fine even if things go sideways. And since Little Pity's still trapped in Building 4, I can pretty much guess her moves. Without hesitation, he pressed the button for the 3rd floor. Wu Ji's expression darkened. "Why the 3rd floor?" he asked. "You're acting like you've been here before. I want a real explanation." The team had questioned Bai Wu's weird behavior before, but he always brushed it off. Now that Wu Ji was clearly suspicious, Bai Wu had to hide the truth about his Eye of Prell ability. "I found a file in a lab back in Building 2, Bai Wu lied smoothly. It had lots of info about this hospital, details about Elijah, and something about the 3rd floor. "Where's the file now?" Wu Ji pressed. Bai Wu sighed and replied, "It vanished right after I read it." Lin Maru gasped in shock. "You memorized the entire file in that short amount of time?" Bai Wu flashed a deliberately innocent smile. "Yeah, isn't photographic memory standard issue for elite squads like ours. The others fell into an awkward silence. As the team stepped out of the elevator, 5-9 was still pressing Bai Wu for more details from the file. But with unknown dangers ahead, Bai Wu didn't waste time explaining. Right now, what I need is your full trust, no questions. A good team relies on everyone playing their role. Mine is to observe and think. In a place where death can strike at any moment, absolute trust is our only advantage. And listen carefully, inside Building 3 never gets separated. If you do, you might never make it back. But before he even finished, Yin Shuang suddenly heard a little girl's voice behind her. "Sister, you finally came to find me. I'm right behind you." She whipped around, but no one was there. Thinking she imagined it, she turned back and froze. The rest of the team had vanished. In the next moment, a swarm of black shadows surged up, wrapping around her body like living ropes. Just as she was about to be swallowed whole, a hand grabbed her shoulder. It was 5-9. He had yanked her back just in time. "Everyone stay calm. If you hear anything weird, speak up immediately." After regaining their composure, the group moved into what looked like an archive room. In Bai Wu's mind, the Eye of Prel gave a snarky comment. "Poor guy added some extra flavor to these files. Read them, and you'll relive the pain of the test subjects firsthand. What a waste. This power would have been better used in adult films." The team understood. These records were dangerous, but they might contain fragments of the true history. Without a hint of emotion, Bai Wu stepped forward to take on the task himself. As soon as Bai Wu opened one of the files, his consciousness was instantly pulled into the body of a test subject. He experienced firsthand the brutal, inhumane experiments and psychological torment inflicted on the subject. Since he couldn't emotionally connect with the memories, the information he could extract was limited. But that also meant he stayed grounded and didn't get lost in the illusion. The test subject kept ripping the scales off his arm, flesh torn, blood pouring, yet he refused to stop. Bai Wu tried to intervene. "Hey, in our country, growing scales is a flex. Guys without scales can't even get a girlfriend." But the subject showed no response. His voice clearly couldn't reach inside the memory. Meanwhile, back in the archive room, the team was buzzing with curiosity. Where did the captain dig up such a monster-level rookie? 5-9 explained he was abducted by nobles from the 4th floor and thrown into the extreme temperature zone for a death game. And not only did no aberrations come after him, he actually turned one against his assassin and wiped them out. Later, a woman called me and asked me to go save him. If he were just emotionally numb, he wouldn't have survived. What impressed me was how he used the environment to his advantage and always found the best way to win. Wang sure asked, "So, what if that woman comes back to reclaim him?" 5-9 instantly snapped, full-on overprotective mode. "No one's taking my guy." Bai Wu smiled faintly. Turns out he had snapped out of the illusion a while ago and had been eavesdropping the whole time. These teammates were all weirdos in their own right. But hey, even freaks had their charm. After a brief pause, Bai Wu pretended to just wake up from the illusion. He then opened the second file. This time, the test subject was chained tightly inside a sealed room. The scales on his arms had transformed into thick, armor-like plating. Bai Wu took a moment to piece together the intel he had gathered from both files. Back then, aberrations had begun appearing in large numbers. The Ninth Asylum was conducting research to create controllable aberrations, ones whose mutations could be preset and directed. The files also repeatedly mentioned a mysterious figure, someone with vast knowledge who answered many of the staff's questions. Could this person have been Elijah's teacher? More intriguingly, the high tower that now shelters humanity hadn't shown up in these records yet. But earlier, Elijah had referred to the tower, suggesting these might be two entirely different structures. Though many questions remain unanswered, this file no longer held anything useful. Just as Bai Wu was about to exit the illusion, he was shocked to find that his mind couldn't pull back. His body was completely frozen. Even worse, a black shadow suddenly appeared behind him. A little girl's innocent voice echoed, "Why did you say people without scales can't get a girlfriend?" So she finally showed up. Little Pity had heard everything he said inside the illusion. Bai Wu let out a slow breath. That was a lie. I just thought he shouldn't feel afraid or ashamed of growing those scales. But before he could finish, little Pity suddenly screamed, "You're lying." Bai Wu tensed. She looked like a harmless little girl, but this might be the kind of aberration even the captain would go all out against. And she was clearly consumed by resentment. Looks like he'd have to play nice for now. I wasn't lying, Bai Wu said calmly. The scales may be ugly and painful, but at least they let that boy live a little longer. You gave me a question earlier. I was supposed to choose from 3 objects. I picked the comb. But that comb, it didn't really exist, did it? The moment he said that, the entire illusion began to tremble violently. The shock even rippled into the real world. Bai Wu had definitely hit on something important. Little Pity stepped closer, voice soft and chilling. Why did you choose the comb? Bai Wu spoke softly. The keys and files, they represent all the cruel things the hospital did to you. But in that cold place, filled with syringes and steel cages, that comb felt too warm. Maybe the comb was never really there. Maybe, when you were little, someone used to gently comb your hair every day. Someone who cared for you, loved you. You miss her. But in this frozen hell called the Ninth Asylum, there are only monsters, and humans more monstrous than them. Little Pity gave a flat response. You're lying. Maybe you think I'm saying all this just to survive. After all, no human would treat an aberration like I am. But I don't fear you. I don't hate you. I didn't come here to kill you. I just want to uncover the truth. My name is Bai Wu. May I ask you a few questions? As his voice grew calmer, the illusion around them began to fade. The little girl slowly transformed into a young woman. My name is Hong Yin. Seeing this, Bai Wu realized she was starting to trust him. That's when he noticed a curse mark on her neck. His brows furrowed. Why, does Elijah have the exact same mark? Hong Yin smirked wickedly. You want to know why I didn't kill Elijah and what happened to the others too, don't you? But once you see my true form, Hong Yin said softly, you'll be terrified. And then, I'll prove that everything you said was a lie. Bai Wu gave a calm smile. If you're right, then feel free to kill me anytime. Hong Yin stared at him, confused for a moment. Then she raised her hand, and a surge of powerful resentment shot toward him. In the blink of an eye, Bai Wu's consciousness was pulled back into the lab on the first floor. On the table in front of him sat a patient file. The moment he opened it, waves of resentment burst out from its pages. In an instant, he found himself reliving every moment of Little Pity's suffering inside the Ninth Asylum. September 25th, Uncle Chiao was screaming again. I begged the doctors to stop hurting him, but they just looked at me and asked, "Who's Uncle Chiao?" That's when I remembered his name didn't exist to them anymore. They only called him Subject BE5. Uncle Chiao looked at me, pleading. He wanted me to help him escape, but I couldn't bear to let him go. September 27th. The doctor said a patient from Building 2 lost control and turned into an aberration. Now Uncle Chiao doesn't even have the name BE5. They just call him the aberration. A black mark appeared on my hand. A small crack opened on my forehead. Uncle Chiao is gone. I'll never hear him tell stories about his daughter again. October 4th, I saw Shaoan again. He was curled up in the black room I made for him. I once promised to build him a colorful one, but I've forgotten what colorful even means. My world only has 3 colors now: black, white, and red. Shaoan sat in the corner, whispering that his bones were stabbing through his body like thorns. He said he was an ugly monster now, but I just wanted to tell him, don't be scared. Big Sister will protect you. October 5th, Shao, and came to say goodbye. He asked me to take him away. In that black room, he smiled at me, so brightly. I felt so sad. I couldn't stop crying. The doctors got annoyed and sedated me. That afternoon, they said Ding 11 had also turned into an aberration. The black mark on my arm grew larger, and another crack appeared on my forehead. October 14th, Gulu said he didn't want to stay here anymore. Every day, he had to fight terrifying aberrations. Every time I saw him, he had new wounds. He always said he was weak, but I knew the truth. He was the strongest one in Building 2. Poor Gulu. I wish I could take you away. But now, I'll never see you again. October 15th, the doctors started to panic. More and more test subjects were suddenly turning into aberrations. I miss Gulu so much. Will he visit me in my dreams? The black mark has already spread across half my arm. And my forehead, it hurts. It feels like an eye is about to grow there. October 19th, October 20th, October 22nd. At this point, Bai Wu finally understood. Little Pity had used her ability to create a sanctuary within dreams. It was the last refuge for these test subjects, a sliver of peace in their hopeless world. But the comfort she gave them was fleeting. It wasn't enough to keep them alive. When someone finally gave up, she would take them with her, absorbing all their resentment, bearing their pain. And in return, they lost their will completely, becoming aberrations. She recorded their final moments in this file, not to forget them, but to remember that they existed. August 9th, I don't dare look in the mirror anymore. I've become a black monster covered in eyes, but I don't regret it. I just wanted to protect everyone. It's just, I don't think I can hold on much longer. Can someone take me home? My hair keeps falling out. I've begged the doctors so many times, just comb my hair once like Grandma used to, but they never listen. They just look at me like I'm some hideous monster, something no one could ever love. My mind is filled with voices, all screaming, "We're monsters. We're all monsters." Then what does that make the ones who created us? August 11th, the cages and chains can't hold me anymore. Now I can play hide and seek with the doctors that I used to love playing hide and seek with Grandma. August 15th, why does everyone who sees me start shaking and screaming? The fear they give off smells so sweet that I want to eat them. August 16th, I saw Elijah again. He's still waiting for his teacher. No matter how cruel this place gets, he refuses to give up. I envy Elijah. I wish someone were out there waiting for me too. But the one who loved me most, Grandma, is already gone. I gave part of my power to Elijah, but he pushed me away. Maybe because of me, his teacher abandoned him. I'm sorry, Elijah. August 20th, more and more doctors are losing hope. Their despair makes them smell even sweeter. The voices in my head keep screaming, tear them apart, eat them. But I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want to play with them. After finishing the last page of the file, Bai Wu finally understood why the Eye of Prel called her Little Pity. This poor girl had taken on all the pain and resentment of both the test subjects and the doctors in the Ninth Asylum. And even now, twisted and monstrous as she'd become, she was still just a kind child who wanted someone to play with. Even when facing the doctors who once tortured her, Little Pity still didn't truly want to kill them. While Bai Wu regretted not being able to use the Eye of Prel and the illusion, it suddenly popped out. Her willpower is too strong. I'm about to vanish. Congrats, by the way, you just saw her true form. I can't even begin to explain what a level 9 aberration really is. Just don't get any funny ideas about trying to beat her. She's like that short freak, hyper-specialized. So here's my advice. Grovel, grovel, and grovel. Back in the real world, 5'9" checked his watch. 1 minute until the 4-hour mark. Get ready for post-tower penalties. Right after he spoke, the squad members began experiencing random negative effects. In Shuang and Wang Shi only suffered mild physical fatigue. But Shang Xiaoi was hit harder. His vision blurred into near blindness. The unluckiest was Lin Wuro. Usually, emotional debuffs trigger after 3 days outside the tower. He caught it at just 4 hours. He dropped to his knees, clutching his head, sobbing uncontrollably. 5'9's penalty was Evil Frenzy. It boosted the attack speed of nearby aberrations. But for someone as fast as him, near light speed, it was basically nothing. He quickly ordered, Lin Wuro, Shang Xiaoi, fall back to the tower. You're out of the fight. Hearing that, Lin Wuro wailed even harder. He looked like he'd lost all will to live. 5'9's face darkened. Then crawl back if you have to. And so, the two retreated back into the tower, dragging their crushed morale with them. Meanwhile, just as the rest of the team worried what kind of penalty Bai Wu might get while stuck in the illusion, the archive room was suddenly flooded with black shadows. 5'9 immediately barked out. Everyone group up. Protect Bai Wu. The shadows twisted and morphed, transforming into aberration forms and lunging at the squad. During the fight, Wang Shi gasped These illusions are fast. Is it because of the captain's evil frenzy? Before anyone could answer, 5-9 exploded into motion, his terrifying speed ripping through every shadow, cutting them into shreds. Wang Shi's eyes nearly popped out of his head. Wait, Captain's pissed. He doesn't think I'm blaming his evil frenzy, does he? But before he could finish that thought, the shredded shadows began reforming. Merging into an even larger aberration, 5-9's expression turned grim. Bai Wu must have uncovered something huge inside the illusion. Meanwhile, in the memory realm, hundreds of doors appeared before Bai Wu. The Eye of Prel squeezed its way back in. Each of these doors connects to a different memory space from the records. Also, your post-tower penalty is confusion. Your sense of direction is now off by 65 degrees. Bai Wu stayed calm. That's manageable. I just need to calculate the offset based on my previous orientation. Are you seriously acting this cool right now? Anyway, one of these doors leads back to the real world. Just one. Pick wrong, and you're stuck. And remember my top 3 pieces of advice. Grovel, grovel, and grovel. Well then, Bai Wu said with a faint smile, time for me to take the stage. He handed the comb to Little Pity. I wasn't lying to you. When I first arrived in this world, my understanding of aberrations was already different from everyone else's. Even after seeing your true form, I don't fear you. I don't hate you. Tears welled up in her eyes. You really aren't afraid of me? Do you know why the people in the tower fear aberrations? Bai Wu said gently. Because no research has ever proven that human willpower can suppress the urge to kill once you've turned. Elijah is one exception. He clings to religion to keep himself under control. And you're another. You absorbed all their resentment, took all their pain. I can't even imagine how much that hurt. But through it all, you kept your will. That alone proves it. Deep down, you're still human. All of Little Pity's many eyes were fixed on the comb in Bai Wu's hand. At the same time, in the real-world archive room, the aberration shadows had begun to fade. The tea was clear. Bai Wu was making progress inside the illusion. He gently continued, don't let yourself become a monster. The world, it's bigger than just buildings 1 through 4. There are still so many places you've never been, and people you haven't met yet. Good people, Little Pity whispered, but I can't leave the 9th Asylum. Bai Wu knelt down and softly stroked her head. I'll find a way to get you out of here. Can you wait for me? Just a little longer? But in her mind, the voices were screaming again. He's lying. Kill him now. She clutched her head in agony. No. It's not like that. Maybe I really can trust him. Bai Wu saw the storm inside her. He knew this was his last chance to reach her. Maybe we're alike, you and I, both thrown into a world we didn't understand. Everything unfamiliar, everything out of place. If every journey has a purpose, then mine is to uncover the truth of this world. Where did the aberrations come from? Who built the tower? What are the source powers and talent sequences really? Once I find those answers, I'll come back for you. And from today onward, you're not alone anymore. At that moment, Bai Wu shattered the final wall inside her heart. His form shifted. He now looked like an innocent, cheerful boy. He reached out his hand. You have a friend now. Someone who's not from the 9th Asylum. Someone who wants to play with you. Tears streamed down her face. I have a friend, thank you. Little Pity spoke softly. Please don't go near Building 4. If you or your teammates get too close to me, it'll be dangerous. Next time we meet, I might not be this clear, dash-headed as, oh, you need to get stronger. And when you are, come find me again. When that time comes, I promise I'll wake you up myself. And we'll play, no matter what you've become. Suddenly, something came to her mind. Oh, 2 days ago, someone left something in Building 1. It looked a lot like the device you used to return to the tower. Bai Wu's eyes widened. The Eye of Prel had mentioned this before. The bloody pattern, the patient files, all placed there 2 days ago deliberately. Could have been Elijah's teacher. Why would he leave a return dial inside the asylum? Or maybe it wasn't a return dial at all, just something that looked like one? Bai Wu immediately asked Little Pity to guide him to where it was. Back in the real-world archive room, as Bai Wu regained consciousness, all the shadows and case files vanished. 5-9 turned to him. What did you find? Bai Wu replied calmly. I ran into a test subject from Building 4, which slowed me down a bit. Also, we should avoid going to Building 4, that even you, Captain, you might not be able to handle that thing. Wang Shi instantly jumped in, grinning. Hey, don't underestimate our captain. He's the sharpest blade in the entire recon corps. 5-9 stood there, silent, but clearly annoyed. Bai Wu ignored the banter and added, what I mean is, Building 4 is on a whole other level. Every aberration we've faced so far, they're nothing compared to what's inside there. 5-9's tone grew serious. What exactly happened in that memory realm? Bai Wu started walking. I'll explain on the way. That's when he finally noticed 2 team members were missing. Wait, where are Lin Wuo and Shang Xiaoi? Wang Shi gave a helpless shrug. Their post-tower penalties hit too hard. Captain sent them back to the tower to recover. In Shuang turned to Bai Wu and asked, so if we're not going to Building 4, where are we headed next? Bai Wu gave a mysterious smile. Building 1. There's something good waiting for us there. With that, he led the 3 teammates toward Building 1. Wang Shi glanced at 5-9 and whispered, Captain, we're seriously not going to Building 4. 5-9 responded firmly, no. The truth was 5-9 could feel it too. There was a high-tier aberration in Building 4. If he went in alone, maybe he could handle it. But with the others, it was too risky. On the way, Bai Wu began sharing what he had learned inside the memory realm. The 9th Asylum wasn't just a hospital. It was a facility built to research and manufacture aberrations. From what I've seen, there's one fully successful test subject and one semi-successful. The spider-like aberration we met in Building 2, Elijah, he's the successful one. As for Hong Yin from Building 4, she's the half-success. In Shuang looked confused, but Hong Yin was way stronger than Elijah. How is she only a half-success? Bai Wu explained, because Hong Yin's transformation wasn't planned, that IT was an accident. She absorbed the resentment of the other test subjects, trying to ease their pain. That's what turned her into an aberration. But even after she changed, a part of her still stayed kind. At that, 5-9 cut in coldly. Aberrations eat people. That's their nature. And no matter how pitiful their story sounds, if there's even a trace of malice left in their soul, they're enemies of humanity. Bai Wu didn't argue. He simply nodded. You're right, Captain. I'll remember that. But before Bai Wu could say another word, he suddenly froze. A wisp of resentment in the shape of little pity appeared right in front of him, out of thin air. 5-9 glanced at him. Did you see something? Bai Wu replied calmly. Nothing. In his mind, he figured it out. No one else could see her. But she looked upset, probably overheard that little conversation he had with 5-9 earlier. After all, this entire 9th Asylum was practically part of her. Yeah, he'd have to watch what he says from now on. Led by little pity's projection, Bai Wu walked into what looked like an old waiting room. The moment he stepped in, he spotted it, a round, dial-like device sitting plainly on the desk. It was so obvious, almost like someone wanted it to be found. That's when the eye of Prel popped up again. This is a pull dial, same category as a return dial. Just as mysterious, just as cursed. It lets you leap back 3 days to a specific scene. Think of it as someone's invitation. Or better yet, check the patient file on the floor. That'll explain things better. Bai Wu glanced at the file. It read like an invitation from a mysterious figure, challenging him to clear a series of specially prepared zones. If he succeeded, that person would reveal the truth behind this world. Bai Wu didn't hesitate. He understood immediately. The 9th Asylum was only the beginning. Whoever placed this dial was pulling him into a much larger game, and things were starting to get interesting. Turning to 5-9, Bai Wu asked, Captain, mind if I keep this dial as a souvenir from our first out-of-tower mission? 5-9 thought for a moment, then gave a one-word reply. Fine. Bai Wu activated the return dial. One by one, his teammates turned into golden light and vanished. His own body slowly began to fade as well. Just before he disappeared completely, he whispered to Little Pity, I'm leaving now, but I'll come back for you. She waved at him through tear-filled eyes. At that moment, the eye of Prel popped up with a summary of the mission. 9th Asylum exploration rate. 61% remaining aberrations. One puzzle fragment. Transferred, unavailable final evaluation. So. You got lucky. Ran in a little pity. As Bai Wu's figure fully vanished, the innocent little girl returned to the warmth of her dream. She sat there, holding her most beloved comb, waiting for the boy who promised he'd come back for her. Back in reality, this was Bai Wu's very first out-of-tower mission that he survived over 4 hours in a high-risk blue zone. Across the entire Recon Corps, only a handful of people had ever pulled that off. The moment he stepped back into the tower, he immediately started teasing Lin Wuro. Well, if it isn't our not-a-burden sister Lin, gotta say, you really didn't slow us down. You left the field early. Lin Wuro scoffed and turned his head away. Humph. That's when 5'9" spoke up. You're off duty for the next week. Bai Wu raised an eyebrow. Why's that? 5'9" explained. Today was just your initiation test. You passed. Next, we process your official enlistment. Only after that will you start receiving actual missions. Bai Wu gave a small grin. Got it. That works out perfectly. Actually, I've got something important to take care of during this break. Making money. That night, 5'9" sat alone in his office, filling out the mission reports for the latest out-of-tower operation. He breezed through the evaluations for most of the team. Except for one report, he kept staring at, pen hovering, unwilling to write. It was Bai Wu's file. His scores were bizarre. 0 in survival and combat, but every other stat maxed out. What really stood out, though, was his unervingly calm mindset. Only his second mission, and his source power had already reached stage 1, level 9. 5'9" leaned back his chair, rubbing his temples. I've led a lot of soldiers, but I've never seen anyone like this. If he can maintain that level of stability, in a few years, the Recon Corps might have its second Tier 8 powerhouse. With that thought, 5'9" made a bold decision. He struck a match and burned Bai Wu's original report. Then, he forged a new 1. Bland. Ordinary. Forgettable. Right now, hiding his true profile is the only way to protect him. After finishing the fake report, 5'9" picked up the phone and dialed a special number, the Ghost Mill Agency. A lazy, teasing voice came from the other end. Well, if it isn't the legendary 9, to what do I owe the honor? Cut the crap. 5'9's tone turned serious. I need you to assign someone long-term to protect one of my people. He's got exceptional recon skills. Make sure your people can keep up. The woman on the line sounded puzzled. Why not use your own men? Isn't that what the Recon Corps is for? This is different, 5'9 replied flatly. The Corps can't be involved in this one. She paused, then shrugged off the details. Fine. What's the payment? 5'9 responded casually. Every time I go outside the tower, I'll bring you something. The woman on the line agreed instantly. With terms like that, I hit the jackpot. Now I'm just dying to know, what kind of freak are you asking me to protect? Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Bai Wu stood outside a small shop, frozen at the door, hesitating to walk in. From inside came the sounds of a dramatic love triangle. 2 men and 1 woman in a full-blown shouting match. The shop owner, Lou Orange, was in tears. Wait, just let me explain. The 2 men were frantic, yelling over each other. Lou Orange, who do you love? We sing, dance, play basketball, bust our asses to make money, just to give you a better life. Their voices cracked, and then both of them broke down crying. Lou Orange wiped her tears, leaned back dramatically, and went full drama queen. I'm sorry. You're both just too amazing. I shouldn't have fallen for you at the same time. I kept it hidden because I didn't want to hurt either of you. Her words struck like Cupid's flaming arrow, straight through the hearts of the 2 emotional fools. Then, with tear-filled eyes, she grabbed both their hands and held them together. I can't choose. You're both my wings. Watching from the doorway, the Eye of Prel muttered, Okay, this Sea Empress is terrifying. Want to join in and complete the mahjong table? 2.5 minutes later, the 2 guys who were ready to kill each other had now become best bros, walking off arm in arm, bonding over their shared heartbreak. Only then did Bai Wu finally walk into the shop. He found Lou Orange calmly touching up her makeup, as if the melodrama from before had never happened. He spoke flatly. Did I come at a bad time? But did you just crash and burn? Lou Orange waved it off. They wanted to be simp kings, but couldn't stay in their lane. Yes, oh, I called them both here and wrapped it up in one go. That's when Bai Wu realized this wasn't a crash site at all. It was a full-blown emotional junkyard. Suddenly, Lou Orange slid up to him, eyes sparkling. Bai Wu came back for me again? Don't mind what just happened. I've been really into your type lately. Bai Wu ignored her flirty tone completely. He reached into his bag and pulled out a camera. Good news. This thing finally got a spirit bond. Flashback to the night before the investigation. Bai Wu had visited a shop called Orange's Treasure Denver. The moment he stepped in, the shop owner welcomed him warmly. Feel free to browse. As usual, the eye of Prel lit up the moment it saw a pretty girl. Those legs? Top tier. Hold up. 19 exes? Over 100 backup boyfriends? This chick's a deep-sea boss. Buy something and bail fast. Bai Wu's gaze landed on a nearby shelf. The eye popped up a scan, 2.5 hours to bind. This cup can instantly boil water. That rice cooker? It might have some spirit potential. If I can actually spirit bind that thing and make it cook food, that'd be a jackpot. He tapped on the display glass. I'll take the cup. And the cooker. Lou Orange stood up and smiled. Nice taste, handsome. The cup's solid, sure, but the cooker's kinda useless. I'd say skip it. Bai Wu replied flatly. I said I want both. She narrowed her eyes. Wait, are you about to head outside the tower? He acted like he didn't hear her and asked about the price, but inside, he was startled. Damn, she's sharp. Lou Orange smirked. Originally, I was going to give you a 50% discount, but now, change my mind. Point one choice. Either pay 10,000 Tarsis or take it for free. Bai Wu replied calmly. I'm just a regular guy. No need for discounts. Just charge me full price. Lou Orange smirked. A regular guy? Who insists on buying a so-called useless pot, even after I warned him it's junk? Unless it's already bonded to a spirit. And this cup? Totally useless inside the tower. Unless you're planning to head outside. Hearing that, Bai Wu sighed. Damn, this woman's eyes are sharp. Since he couldn't afford it anyway, he reluctantly picked the free option. Thanks for shopping, I'll wrap it right up for you. Everyone knows, free stuff is always the most expensive. Sure enough, while packing the goods, Lou Orange sneakily slipped in something extra. Even when Bai Wu caught her, she had her excuse ready. Oh dear, I must have accidentally packed my camera with your things. A few days from now, you'll just happen to find it and return it to me like a good citizen. It's fate. The eye of Prel popped up with a scan. That camera? It's been through some shady business. Clearly, this girl's trying to dig into whatever secrets it once captured. Bai Wu asked, and if the camera doesn't bond with a spirit? She just shrugged. Then it wasn't meant to be. Back to the present. Lou Orange was practically bouncing with excitement. I can't believe it actually bonded this fast. She leapt toward him in joy, but Bai Wu raised the camera high, expression cold. Let's talk payment. Lou Orange blinked, then pouted. Bai Wu, I'm totally broke. But how about this? I offer myself instead. Bai Wu instantly switched to monk mode. Respect yourself, lady. I'm a man of virtue. Also, girls cost extra. Her best seduction tactic utterly failed. She pouted again, defeated. Fine. I'll pay, but only after I check the goods. Bai Wu handed her the camera and explained how it worked. Just focus on a place, think of a specific timestamp, and take the shot that you'll see exactly what happened there at that moment. Lu Qingzi raised the camera and pressed the shutter toward the counter. Sure enough, the photo showed Ah Wei and Kunkin fighting for love just moments ago. Jackpot, she exclaimed. If this camera works like this, I can piece together the truth of history, one photo at a time. That's when Bai Wu finally realized this camera wasn't just for snapshots. If used smartly, each photo could become a piece in a giant historical jigsaw puzzle. But soon after, Lu Qingzi kept clicking the shutter, yet no more photos appeared. Bai Wu calmly explained, its spirit-bound time is limited. The camera can only be used twice a week. I already used it once outside the tower. Lu Qingzi stared at the camera in her hand. It wasn't as frequently usable as she'd hoped, but in the right moment, it could be a powerful intel-gathering weapon. She was about to use that as leverage to haggle. But Bai Wu cut her off coldly. Don't try to devalue this camera to lower the price. That just makes you look desperate. If you're short on money, I'll accept something of equal value. Intel, items, or services. Lu Qingzi shivered slightly. Wait, when you say services, are we still talking about legal ones? Bai Wu ignored her joke and got straight to the point. Tell me about the tower outside, live streams. Most of them are probably fake, he said, but there must be a few that are real. Otherwise, how could they keep fooling the public? Lu Qingzi raised the camera and smirked. If I tell you what I know, can that count toward the price? Yes, but I want details. She flashed a charming smile. Good choice. You came to the right woman. Come inside. We'll talk somewhere more comfortable. Inside the back room, Lu Qingzi leaned in and began her explanation. The towers may keep humanity safe, but they also make people crave the freedom outside, especially those upper-class folks on the 3rd and 4th levels. They're bored out of their minds. Watching bloody live streams of outsiders getting devoured, that's their idea of fun. It's not enough unless it's gory. Bai Wu frowned. Then why don't they just hire the investigation corps to escort them out and see it for themselves? Lu Qingzi shook her head. Only the corps commander and the 16 squad captains can authorize expeditions. Everyone else? No way. Unauthorized exits are forbidden. Bai Wu understood right away. The investigation corps was the blade of the rulers. There's no way they'd let some merchants use their weapon for personal gain. From now on, if he wanted to sneak out of the tower, hiding his true identity was a must. Where there's demand, there's a market. That's how the live streaming industry outside the tower was born. But since tech devices fail once they leave the tower, only spirit-bound items can function properly. So a top-tier tycoon spent a fortune sending loads of items out of the tower, all in hopes of spirit binding a recording function. After 7 whole years, he finally succeeded. One pair of handcuffs developed a surveillance ability. Bai Wu sighed internally, too bad. I destroyed that pair. Then he asked, isn't spirit binding all about luck? How did that tycoon ensure success with the others? Lu Qingzi chuckled, he couldn't. But that time, the person leaving the tower carried more than just one pair of cuffs. And here's the strange part. 13 pairs of cuffs all ended up with the exact same surveillance ability. People started calling it spirit-binding diffusion. Bai Wu frowned. If it's that effective, why didn't the investigation corps just seize them? They tried to buy them for a sky-high price, Lu replied. But that tycoon wasn't interested in selling. Bai Wu nodded. Figures. This guy must have serious backing. Lu confirmed exactly. The corps didn't dare offend him publicly. Rumor has it, he might be from the 5th floor of the tower. Bai Wu thought to himself, the 5th floor, that's where the real rulers live. Judging by Wu Zhou's attitude toward the death game, whoever runs this gambling ring clearly isn't someone ordinary. If my identity gets exposed, can Wu Zhou really protect me? And more importantly, who was bold enough to risk offending the game's boss just to alert the investigation corps and save me? But the biggest problem, if he started live streaming outside the tower, would that mysterious boss take notice? Turning to Lu Qingzi, he asked, is there any way to get streaming equipment? Lu Qingzi replied confidently, I have a boyfriend, he's got the right connections. The Eye of Prel couldn't help but roast her. Most people say I've got a friend. This girl goes straight to I've got a boyfriend. Gotta admit, connections are a form of power too. Bai Wu added, I also need a mask. Either something that can disguise my voice or one strong enough to hold up under pressure. And you can't get the streaming gear under my name. You have to make sure no one traces it back to me. Hearing all that, Lu Qingzi looked visibly troubled. Bai Wu immediately laid out his terms. Once I leave the tower, I'll carry that camera with me. As the spirit binding level increases, it'll have more uses, maybe even unlock new features. And if you've got other items suitable for spirit binding, I might consider taking them out for you too. Before he even finished, Lu Qingzi grabbed his hand, beaming, deal. It's a promise. Then she added excitedly, I want to be your partner. You just focus on the live streams. I'll handle everything behind the scenes. In her heart, Lu Qingzi was already determined to cling to Bai Wu's golden thigh. As long as he stayed strong, he'd be a walking spirit-binding ATM, money, love, fame, all within reach. They agreed to make the exchange in 3 days and briefly discussed the livestream setup. Later, Baiwu returned to his room. He quietly stared at the spirit compass in his hand, wondering, would this journey outside the tower be another trap set by the mysterious figure? Just as the night grew silent, a sudden knock echoed from the door. Baiwu opened it to find Yin Shu from Squad 7's interrogation team. She looked a bit embarrassed. Captain thought you might be bored, so he wants you to help us clear out some of the backlog. Baiwu instantly got the message. Wu Jiu was assigning him tasks just to fill his 7-day break, likely to stop him from sneaking out. Could it be the people behind the gambling ring had already started making moves? At that moment, the eye of Prel proudly popped out. Too bad that Shorty overlooked one thing. You've got me, the ultimate psychic. Bai Wu followed Yin Shu to the interrogation office. There, the team leader explained that most cases had already identified suspects. They were now in the evidence collection phase. But evidence was hard to gather, and new crimes popped up daily, making the backlog worse and worse. Honestly, we were going to skip a bunch of the tricky cases. But the captain insists when the lower levels fall into chaos, the investigation corps should step up. People down here need to know they haven't been abandoned. Bai Wu then asked, does the interrogation unit have the authority to make temporary arrests? We do, the leader replied. The higher-ups gave us major powers. We can detain anyone from the lower zones and have 7 days to gather evidence. Even if we get the wrong person, nobody questions it. Bai Wu stayed silent. This wasn't trust from above. It was blatant disregard for the rights of those below. What Wu Jiu wanted to change, it wouldn't be easy. He then told the team leader, bring in all the suspects. I'll handle every single one. The leader blinked in disbelief. There are over 100 suspects. You think you can do this alone? Bai Wu answered with full swagger. Outside the tower, not even the captain, or that sissy Lin Wuro, would question my words. So I expect you guys to follow my lead too. His bold attitude left the team leader speechless. In less than 30 minutes, the once empty hallway was packed with suspects. After checking the head count, the leader walked into the surveillance room. On the big screen, Bai Wu was interrogating his first target. The suspect was a woman accused of killing her husband. Both were average citizens from the second floor, but she clearly dressed to impress. The captain had uncovered evidence of her affair, but they'd never found solid proof she murdered her husband. Inside the room, Bai Wu stayed silent. The woman, on the other hand, was getting annoyed. I already told you. I was at the casino that night. The staff can vouch for me. Prel's I popped up with a tip. She's not the killer, just an accomplice. A shared bill socialite who got cozy with the casino manager. She always looked down on her husband, a humble miner. You should get Yin Shu to summon that manager. Bai Wu casually waved at the surveillance camera. Yin Shu got the signal and rushed over. Just as she reached the door, Bai Wu stepped out and handed her a file. Bring me the manager listed in here. Separate them during questioning. Classic prisoner's dilemma. Watch how fast their trust crumbles. With that, Bai Wu strolled into the next interrogation room, leaving his fangirl Yin Shu standing there, totally dazed. 2.5 minutes later, Bai Wu walked out of interrogation room 2. The murder weapons confirmed, hidden in a false panel behind the bookshelf. Up next was the third case. An hour passed, and the team leader came running into another department's office, panting heavily. Bai Wu's case-solving speed was insane. One team alone couldn't keep up. The leader went all out and pulled in every interrogation member from all 13 squads in the investigation corps. After giving orders, he returned to the surveillance room. But staring at the screen, he started to feel a creeping sense of dread. He leaned over and told a nearby staffer, shut off the monitors. Delete all interrogation footage. Because if Bai Wu really kept this pace, he might break the record for cracking 100 cases in a single day. And if someone like Lu Mu, who's always trying to poach talent, caught wind of it, they'd never let Bai Wu go. Sure enough, over in Squad 13's office, Lu Mu saw the transfer request from Squad 7. At first, he chuckled. Seriously? With their sorry interrogation skills, they need backup? Unless they've got outside help. Then it hit him. His expression froze. That genius rookie who refused to join his squad a few days ago. Because the number 13 was unlucky, Lu Mu slammed his desk in frustration. Damn it, why'd I have to be squad 13? Over 100 cold cases stacked up for 2.5 years, solved in a single day by a so-called rookie. But Bawu didn't claim any credit for the solved cases. He didn't want the higher-ups in the tower turning their eyes on him. He told the interrogation team, "This big breakthrough today? It's thanks to the captain. He had you all secretly gathering evidence. The suspects were already locked in. We just wrapped it all up at once. Me? I was just a small cog in the machine. I'll hand over all the case files and testimonies. If anyone from the top asks, you'll know exactly what to say." But the team leader scratched his head. Still, why close them all in one day? That's bound to raise questions. Bawu gave a sly smile. That's the point. We want the higher-ups to take notice. The leader was puzzled. Didn't you just say you wanted to stay under the radar? Now you want attention. Bawu explained, crime runs rampant in the lower levels. On the surface, sure, it's about personal greed or desperation. But zoom out, and it's clear something in the system itself is pushing people to break the law. And changing that isn't something we can do from the bottom. We need the top to act. The leader wiped sweat from his brow. That was way too righteous. If the captain heard this, he thought, even his poker face would probably crack a smile. The team leader then instructed everyone to quickly study the case details and to keep the suspect's mouth shut. He turned to Bai Wu with one last question. You really remember every detail and confession from over 100 cases? Bai Wu chuckled. Of course. Isn't a photographic memory standard for interrogation teams? That one line hit everyone like a brick. They were collectively mentally destroyed. 3 days later, in the captain's office, Wu Jiu heard about Bai Wu's legendary feat. So, you wrapped up all my assignments this fast? Really itching to get out of the tower? Bai Wu answered with mock seriousness. The investigation corps forbids unauthorized excursions, sir. Glad you remember, Wu Jiu said coldly. So, keep your head down. If I catch you sneaking out, there will be consequences. Also, know your limits. Don't go looking for trouble. Bai Wu picked up on the subtext. Don't leave any evidence, and be careful out there. Wu Jiu stood up and added flatly, fixing the lower levels isn't a short-term job. Submitting this many cases at once will put us under serious pressure. But the ones standing in our way, they'll be under even more. Some of those cases threaten their personal interests. He patted Bai Wu's shoulder. You did well. Credit deserves reward. Take this token. Use it to pick some gear from the mechanics division for your next trip out. Prels, I gave him a tip. Every time the investigation corps ventures outside the tower, they pick up loads of useful junk. A lot of spirit-bound items from the wild end up in storage. People don't know what they do. Might be worth digging through for hidden treasures. Wu Jiu then gave another reminder. 4 days from now, a high-ranking officer from the tower's warden force will come to question us about the Ninth Asylum. They're particularly interested in those high-level fallen ones who retain their sanity. Everyone involved in the mission will be interviewed. But Bai Wu made a quiet request. Captain, please ask the others to keep one thing secret. The roulette will be found at the end. Don't mention it to the warden force. Wu Jiu raised a brow. What's so special about that wheel? Bai Wu shrugged. Still investigating. I'll tell you as soon as I figure it out. Wu Jiu nodded and handed him a modified report to keep everyone's story straight. It documented the entire Asylum mission, but with one change. The section that originally said Bai Wu handled all the observation and guidance now said it was shared between him and Yin Shuang. Bai Wu immediately understood. Wu Jiu was covering for him. Captain's getting more interesting by the day, he thought, while memorizing the thick report in seconds. After Bai Wu left, Wu Jiu rubbed his forehead, pretending to be stressed. 7 days of work done in 1 day, and a bonus discovery too. But beneath the surface, he was smiling, rarely. Looks like I need to reevaluate Bai Wu's potential. It was Bai Wu's first time in the Corps' treasure vault. Piles of exotic items filled the room, but he ignored them all. His eyes landed on an ordinary-looking mask in the corner. Prel's eye popped up with more intel. This mask can't be destroyed, but the more your health drops, the more it reveals your real face. And back at the asylum, you saw files mentioning something related to it. That file described a masked man scene in a nearby city. He delivered fallen ones to the Ninth Asylum, and even had some sort of deal with the director. Bai Wu thought hard. If that guy could move between cities, maybe the outer world isn't as random as it seems. Maybe the regions are somehow connected. With that thought, he carefully stashed the mask in his bag. Bai Wu went to check in with Lu Qingzi. Did you get the livestream setup done? She proudly patted her oversized chest. My 25th boyfriend handled everything the very next day. She pulled out a pair of spirit-bound handcuffs with surveillance and recording capabilities. The footage would be broadcast directly onto a wall of screens at the port. Because the outside world was so dangerous, only 6 live streams had actually happened outside the tower in the past year. Of those 6, 5 streamers were torn to shreds by fallen ones. The viewers down below were terrified, yet thrilled. Now, the sponsors couldn't wait for Bai Wu's big debut. Lu Qingzi then pulled out 2 outfits, battle gear for his first on-camera mission. Bai Wu stared at the skin-tight suit waving in the wind, face full of dread. Even Prelzai groaned. Seriously? A superhero-style spandex suit from 700 years ago? Ugly as hell. Sure, it's a spirit-bound item and offers some protection, but come on. With everything ready, there was only one last step. Since Bai Wu was a member of the investigation corps and technically not allowed to leave the tower, Lu Qingzi decided to help him register as a freelance mercenary. At the registration office, a chubby clerk greeted them with a fake smile. For humanitarian reasons, a mercenary squad must have at least 6 members. But hey, rules are flexible. For just 500 task coins, the system can generate 5 imaginary teammates for you. Bai Wu, broke as ever, looked helplessly at Lu Qingzi. She rolled her eyes but still ended up paying. "All right, young man," said the clerk. "Now give me your squad members' names. Code names." Bai Wu took it seriously and gave himself a cool name, Constantine. But then things took a turn. The second member? Freeloader. The third? Next time for sure. The fourth? I gave last time. Lu Qingzi nearly choked, trying to stifle her laughter. Inspired by the chaos, Bai Wu leaned all the way in. The fifth code name? Orange Juice. And the sixth? Maybe not even next time. Lu Qingzi exploded. Bai Wu, did you just sneak my name in between all those freeloaders? What's that supposed to mean? Once the naming circus was over, Bai Wu took Lu Qingzi back to his place so she could remember where he lived for future contact. That's when she made a request. That camera, I want at least one guaranteed use. Bai Wu agreed without hesitation. Then he casually asked, "You care about it that much? What did it record?" At that, Lu Qingzi's expression suddenly dimmed. After a long silence, she began speaking slowly. 3 years ago, a bunch of girls from the lower levels went missing. People said upper-class nobles kidnapped them, turned them into playthings. When they got bored, they'd toss the girls outside the tower and watch them get devoured by fallen ones for fun. My 2 best friends tried to collect evidence of the nobles' crimes. But then, they vanished. The only thing they left me was that camera. But it was destroyed. The film, completely ruined. Bai Wu's face turned serious. That camera must have captured something huge, something dangerous enough to get those girls killed. And now, he realized Lu Qingzi's habit of making boyfriend connections wasn't just for fun. It was for survival. Even that mercenary registration process, they made it deliberately lax. All the better for the elites to conduct their dirty business in secret. That thought made Bai Wu shoot to his feet. This tower, it really is rotten from the top down. Lu Qingzi suddenly asked a question that left the air heavy. They say the fallen ones outside the tower used to be human. If my best friend were thrown out by those nobles and turned into fallen, and I saw them again, would they eat me? Bai Wu replied gently, "The world out there is vast. Don't torment yourself with things that haven't happened. If I meet them, I'll tell them you still miss them." Lu Qingzi stared at him, eyes softening, her emotions surging. She looked like she wanted to lean in. But the very next second, Bai Wu, the ultimate straight-laced brick wall, shoved her out of the room. "I'm changing. Time to prep for the mission." Moments later, he was suited up in the skin-tight outfit, mask on, His next journey beyond the tower had begun. Meanwhile, a ragtag squad of 5 mercenaries had also ventured out into the wilderness beyond the tower. The bald one, who had the sharpest senses, picked up on something odd. In the eerie forest ahead, he could sense only one weak fallen presence. The squad leader chuckled. This mission seemed too easy. For the first time, they felt like maybe, just maybe, they didn't have to run. Maybe they could fight head-on. For hours later, they realized how stupid that thought was. And one of them had already paid the ultimate price. The humanoid fallen looked like a low-tier creature. Weak attack, slow speed, soft defense. But it had one terrifying trait: insane regeneration. The captain's face turned pale as he screamed. Number 3. Activate the return wheel, now. Get us back to the tower. Hurry. But before the words were even out, the fallen moved. It seemed to understand what the return wheel did. It lunged forward and drove its hand through the guy carrying it. Then it ripped the wheels off his body and crushed each one in its jaws, shattering their last hope of escape. With no other choice, the 3 remaining members scrambled into a nearby tree hollow, their faces pale, trying desperately to steady their breathing. The captain whispered harshly, "Shut the hell up. Stay calm. Don't think about what just happened." The blue-haired rookie looked like he was about to cry, voice trembling. But Captain, third bro, Scarface, The captain clamped a hand over his mouth. "You better calm down, or I swear I'll throw you out of this hole myself." Fallen track people through negative emotions. You really want to end up like the others. The bald guy slumped in the corner, defeated. The return wheels are gone. I guess all we can do now is wait for death. Silence took over the hollow again. Without the return wheels, even if the fallen left them alone, the environmental debuffs would slowly eat them alive. The captain spoke flatly. "Now it's obvious. That thing was faking weakness from the start. We walked right into a trap. And if I'm right, it's smarter than it looks. How else would it know what the wheels do?" It went straight for our only way out. As he spoke, the timer hit 4 hours. The words "outside tower penalty" activated appeared on each of their status screens. The captain sighed. We were already helpless. Now he got these damn debuff tags too. This just keeps getting worse. The blue-haired rookie asked hesitantly, boss, that fallen's still munching on third bro's body. If we keep calm, maybe it won't notice us." The bald guy, clearly affected by the debuff, looked utterly hopeless. "Don't kid yourself. We're done for. No one's going to stumble across us out here. Might as well think back on the good times." But the captain suddenly snapped back into focus. "Shut up, number 4. Maybe we're dead men, but I'll be damned if I die lying down. Both of you get it together." He glanced outside and noticed the rain had stopped. His eyes lit up. Maybe, just maybe, we got a chance. Just then, footsteps echoed outside the tree hollow. The captain froze. Shit, it's back already? But instead of a monster, it was Bai Wu. His voice came in smooth and lazy. "Hey, you 3, come out and let me get a good look. Rain hits again in 300 seconds. If you want to live, help me scout the terrain and share what you know." The trio blinked in shock. He sounded young, like one of their own, but the calm swagger in his voice commanded serious respect. Meanwhile, back at the bargain port in the tower's lower zone, Lu Qingzi raised her pager and coolly gave the order. Switch the feed. In an instant, the boring, scammy live stream selling knockoff junk was cut and replaced by a new one. As soon as viewers saw it was a tower outside live stream, chat exploded. It had been ages since anyone dared to stream outside the tower. Meanwhile, out in the wilds beyond the tower, the 4 survivors finally came face to face. Krell's popped up with a dramatic summary. Why did a 5-man squad drop to 3? How did a weak fallen flip the script and start hunting them? Why were all their return wheels destroyed? And behind that shiny bald head, what tragic tale lies hidden? Beneath the gruff beard of the squad leader, what dark secrets fester? Is this the result of twisted humanity or the collapse of morality itself? Welcome to the world of Disciple 7. Bai Wu glanced at the pop-up, eyebrows raised. Disciple 7? Huh. So this fallen might be a fellow disciple of Elijah's. The bald man was the first to speak. When did you get here? Are you a ghost or a fallen? Liang Yu. Innate power, companion bond. Tier 3, stage 1. Current status, fallen. He had considered giving up, but right now, his will to live outpaced the others. He stared at Bai Wu and said, "You better remember what I'm about to tell you, because at the end of this level, you'll have to make a choice." Bai Wu kept his tone lazy. "Man, asking if I'm a ghost or a fallen. Neither of those ends well. You really got a death wish, huh?" The captain tensed and raised his weapon. "Who the hell are you?" "Yang Zhen. Innate power, tier 3, stage 1. Current debuff, confusion." The guy spoke like an old-school soldier from a war movie. Too bad Hollywood shut down 700 years ago. He'd have made a perfect Wolverine. Prelzai chimed in. "By the way, he just had a little intrusive thought. He's thinking about killing you and stealing your return wheel. But don't worry, he's not exactly thinking straight right now." Bai Wu calmly pushed the blade aside. "You already lost 2 teammates because you underestimated the threat. Tier 3 stage 1 isn't exactly strong. And if I'm not wrong, you've been stuck out here for over 4 hours, haven't you?" Yang Zhen flinched. How the hell did he know my level? No way he figured that out without being tier 4 or higher with powerful perception skills. No way a lone sensor would come out here alone. This guy was something else. Slowly, Yang Zhen sheathed his knife. Bai Wu gave a lazy shrug. "Call me Constantine. And if you want to survive, I suggest you drop the funny ideas." Hearing that, the blue-haired rookie's eyes lit up. "Wait, we actually have a chance to live." Qin Lin. Innate power, tier 2, stage 6. Current debuff, sluggish. He was the most timid, docile, and frankly, the most normal of the 3. His unique ability? Talent sequence 777, the Wheel of Emotion. Yang Zhen spoke again. "Sir, maybe you could lend us your return wheel. You could bring back reinforcements while we wait. I'm Yang Zhen, fairly well known in the freelance circuit. If you trust me." Bai Wu didn't respond. He simply stared at the 3 of them in silence, gaze sharp and unreadable. Prelzai popped up again with a critical note. "In this instance, all 3 targets must remain present. If even one leaves, something very bad will happen. Also, these 3 are tied to 8 possible endings, each with different rewards. Wealth, reputation, intel, spirit-bound loot, or maybe just a generic talent sequence. Or what if you want all of them? Choose wisely." Bai Wu studied the message carefully. 3 people, 8 endings? Must be tied to survival outcomes, he thought. Baldy, the tough guy, and the nerd. 8 total combinations. All 3 survive. Only one makes it, or any 2 survive. Adds up perfectly. This instance might actually be interesting. With that, Bai Wu flatly rejected Yang Zhen's suggestion. "No, I don't trust you." Yang Zhen frowned. "Only you have a return wheel. Isn't the smart move for the one with the most influence me to head back, bring reinforcements, and save everyone?" Bai Wu stayed calm. "The monster's perception is off the charts. Did any of you stop to ask why it didn't just kill you all immediately? Why it only destroyed your return wheels?" Yang Zhen nodded slowly. "I've wondered that too. It must have some level of intelligence." Bai Wu's tone went cold. "Exactly. It let you run. It didn't kill you because it's savoring the fear. To a fallen one, your terror, your despair, it's seasoning. The more you panic before you die, the better you smell. Destroying your return wheels and toying with you like prey. It's just prepping the meat for dinner."